probably gonna start this one off just a little bit different. As my really good friend whom I miss dearly. We would talk about him every day in the locker room. You know, would say after every game he would say, "To God be the glory." So shout out to Amir Abdul-Rahim at South Florida. It is days like today where I'm reminded about our long conversations where we talk about, you know, the reason why we're in the position that we're in and blessed to do the things that we're able to do. So he completely gave his life to this profession, and it's moments like this when you see guys grow up right in front of you to where you understand why. So, wow, what a game. Absolutely, what a game. I don't know if I've ever been a part of anything quite like that before, with so much riding on it. But I am extremely proud of my team. I am extremely blessed to be the head coach at this university and humbled and appreciative. What a game. I'm very thankful to administration and the community and the student body for believing in us. They didn't have to do it. I'm sure they had things that they could have did, but they spent some time with us, and that's one thing that they couldn't get back, and they were important. Without that loud crowd, I don't know if that guy goes 1 for 2 from the line, which gave us another chance. And we had a game plan, and at the end of the day, we stuck with it, and that game plan was to fight. That's what it was. Questions?
Yeah, Coach, you know, we've kind of talked about it throughout the season, just the ups and downs of this entire season, but what does it mean for this team, you know, trailing James Madison, just to keep on fighting back, and to finally kind of put it away in that second overtime to seal this win, and not only seal this win, but get that final home win?
Yeah, basketball's a transition sport. You know, you're gonna have opportunities. Obviously, you know, every 30 some odd seconds, you know, to make a play to help your team win. And I thought that we figured out a group of guys that had a certain tick about themselves tonight. Like, they just started clicking. And sometimes that's not easy to find. It's a puzzle piece. You got a lot of capable guys. But we got the right mix of players on the floor at the right time, at critical times throughout the game. But I thought the way that group, those seniors, came out in the second half set the tone, and it gave us hope that we can come back and make this a game. And I have to commend the seniors for that.
Yeah, what was that conversation at halftime like for y'all, and what was the adjustment did y'all have to make for James Madison?
Yeah, I think sometimes you look at the score and you think that you're in a worse situation than you're actually in. You know, and I thought that Coach Mathis did a really good job of letting these guys know that we're in this game. And it's just a few possessions away from us, you know, really making it tight on them. Those guys had a lot riding on this game, and we felt like if we made the game a little bit tighter, we thought that it would have an effect on them. So we came out with the mindset to win the first 4 minutes, start guarding a little bit better. We had 0 kills in the first half, and we wanted to start guarding them a little bit better, a little bit more physically. And then we knew that we were going to play zone in the second half for the majority of it.
And then going into that second overtime, what was the key to get onto that really big 13-2 run to kind of seal the game?
To not put your head down and be disappointed that you didn't win it in the first overtime. I think that that's the biggest adjustment throughout the overtime, is just to not harp on not finishing it out in regulation and not finishing it out in the second overtime.
How does this win, you know, how kind of propel you guys into that conference start, you know, looking forward, you know, a win of this kind, of this caliber?
Yeah, I think if you're us, I think you know one thing about yourself, okay, that you're capable of competing against anyone in this league. You know, against the top 4 teams in the league. You know, obviously Arkansas State swept us, but we have a win on our record versus the other 3. So I think you like where you're at on a neutral floor against anybody, and hopefully that we can carry this momentum and this level of connectivity into the conference tournament.
Hey, Coach, what advantage did you see going small? I've seen that you have 4 perimeter players and then 1 big inside. And, you know, James Madison is a big team. So what advantage did you see using that type of lineup?
Yeah, we felt like it was going to be a little bit harder for them to match up with us on the other end, and we were going to have a tough time guarding. They were going to have a tough time. We were going to have to match up anyway in our 33 defense. So we were going to be switching everything anyway. So I knew that if we got to the point to where we can muster up some stops. Although they're small, they are 2 of the better rebounders in our conference, Josh O'Gara and Tyrell Morgan. So I felt like with those 2 rebounding along with Mark Drone, who's a good rebounder, and also Tylen Pope, who's a good rebounder, I felt like we would be able to battle on the glass, and I'm glad we did.
Coach, the term next man up is significant in all sports, but it can only go for so long. How did you and the team manage to overcome all the injuries this year?
Yeah, I think, Phil is in here. He's been with me since I was an assistant here. What we've never done in this program is made an excuse about anything. To be honest with you, man, we have a saying that we live by, man. Embrace all things that are difficult. And if you're able to do that, the impossible becomes possible. Next man up, man, it's just your calling. It's just your turn, man. You know, so we don't really get into the extent of the expiration date on the saying. You know, the saying is believe in yourself and trust. And it's your story, so write it.
Oh, Coach, what is preparation and travel going to look like for you guys? I know the first game's going to probably be sometime next week.
Yeah, initially it's going to look like rest and recovery. Okay, and then after that, we're gonna see who our matchups are, and then we're going to, most of the time it's someone that we've played. Although a couple of years ago, I think we played Georgia State and we had not seen them before, but for the most part, it'll be someone that we've played. So we'll go back and go through the scout and see where we are now and what adjustments that we can make to give ourselves the best opportunity to win a game.
Coach, you speak about the confidence you and your team have going into this conference tournament. Just talk about a few things you and your team can hang your hat on going into this conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we beat a good team today, man. I mean, we beat a good team that's picked to beat one of the better teams, not only in the conference but in the country. So I think the thing that we can hang our hat on is if we bring culture to the floor, we feel like we can compete with anyone. So I think that's probably the thing that I would say we're going to hang our hat on moving forward.
Coach, with this senior class, with all the ups and downs they've had, especially with all the injuries, a lot of them have suffered. What does it mean in their final, home game here at Strahan? You'll have like this really big double overtime win that y'all basically kind of have to kind of hang on this forever.
Yeah, I told them today was their last dance, but it didn't have to be their last chance. The reality of it is that all good things must come to an end, and in order for something to begin, something has to end. So this day was inevitable, okay? And it is journeys like this that shape and mold boys to men, and I thought that they all took a step today in becoming great men.
And then Tylen Pope finishing with 23 points. I mean, and Tyrell Morgan, what is it with 19? What about those seniors just being able to kind of guide this team, through the ups and downs, be able to have a night like this?
Yeah, sometimes guys just don't have it, but there aren't nights where those guys don't give it. And they had it tonight, and they gave it, and I appreciate that. And when those guys have it and they're giving it, we can be a pretty good team. Tyrell's just getting himself back into rhythm a little bit, and Tylen, obviously, he's a load, man. He's something to deal with, and his ability to get to the line and knock down free throws is clutch for us, and it's been a clutch all year.
With this senior class, what do you think their lasting legacy is going to be here at Texas State when they make their transition to the next part of their journey?
Man, you know what? That's a great question, and I think they're still writing that. And when it's over, it's a little bit easier. It'd be a little bit easier for me to define. But right now, I just hope they keep writing it.
You know, with kind of what we've been talking about this week with this conference tournament going into this more like eliminator style bracket, what's going to be the key to, you know, as y'all prepare to play these mini games like kind of back to back, what's going to be the key to kind of sustain the success and try to make a deep run?
Yeah, I think keeping it simple, being who we are, and believing in who we are. I think other than that, it's about being able to take care of your body, your rest, and your recovery. So I think those are the two things, just not getting there and forgetting who you are and how you got there.
Coach, do you have a favorite specific moment from this season that you can look back on?
I think if you're talking about an on-a-court moment, then I would probably say tonight. And I wouldn't even talk about the game. But, man, tonight, just seeing a person like Josh O'Gara bring a community. And then it reminds me that it takes a village. And so just seeing that along with the rest of the seniors, it was a euphoric moment for me. And I'm like, wow, these guys have really, they're standing on the backs of a lot of people that have put them in position to be where they are. So I would say that group picture right there with that many people on the floor just supporting those guys. So I just knew that they were going to give it all they had tonight. They weren't going to let anybody down.
Well, guys, first off, congratulations on the massive win. Just take us through that double overtime period, just going on that really big 13-2 run and being able to seal that game, especially when y'all came back from such a big deficit in the first half.
To be honest, everybody was tired. But, it came down to who wanted to win the most, and it was our time. So, we just stayed together, stayed focused, and made it happen.
You got
Going off of what Tyrell said, man, we just had to come together as a collective and just try to give it our best shot. And we know that we win games through toughness, so that's what we had to approach and the mentality. So going into the halftime, coach just gave us the motivation to try to figure it out. And at the end of the day, we got us in this we got ourselves into that situation, so we had to get ourselves out of it. So that's what we did.
Like Rel said, like we were all tired, but every time we would huddle up during the stoppage in the game, like we kept, like all of us would look at each other and we kept telling each other, like, keep going, keep pushing. And like that's all we needed, like was just each other. And like we were in the midst of a war and we had to get ourselves out of it. And like Rel said, we wanted it more, it was our time. So
What was the key to kind of getting y'all's getting going in this second overtime to just kind of get on that really big run?
It all started with stops. Our gameplay is, based off defense. Once we figured that part out, offense became, easier. So I feel like when we found something that slowed them down, we was able to, contribute and just really lock in and focus on what we had to do offensively.
Colton, you scored 21 points tonight, and what a way to cap off the regular season after coming back from an injury to start the regular season. Just how does it feel to cap the regular season off with a win like this against James Madison?
Man, starting off the year injured obviously wasn't ideal. That sucked, but man, I got my brothers around me to lift me up, and